On a sunny background with albizia, um, water lily, clematis, and wildflowers, a note on Psycho. Ah, by the way, in the background, but not visible, there is a Psycho. Uh, Only one. There are a few Psychos. One with his mates. So uh, I don't have his name, but he lives there in case something happens and you see, and please report uh, the incident, the crime. A classic. Some say Alfred Hitchcock at his best. Others do not disagree, but have an interesting take on this. Um, First of all, let me mention a classic in terms of Hollywood stories, films, the way they make scripts and stars act, are in private. Adventures in the Screen Trade. William Goldman, winner of 2 Academy Awards. Um, an insider in some ways. Um, Mentions the author film. So much more. You can read so much there. I strongly recommend that book. Marvelous. I have to read it again actually. He reaches a point where he talks about the author film, and he gives the example of Hitchcock, who was so acclaimed, honored for his authorship, and he was used as an example with other French filmmakers, creators, as the man who is responsible for the film. It's his. Well, Goldman has a different opinion. He makes a very strong case. He says, look, there's so much going on in there. It's not just the director. The writer, cast, those involved in production, producer. In the case of Chariots of Fire, music, special effects for some films, especially in the world of today. But he's speaking of some decades ago. Jaws, important. Without special effects, there's no film there. And in the case of Hitchcock, he even goes as far as to say, look, when they pushed him on this pedestal, they did him wrong. Because after this craze, after this madness, Hitchcock, he started making worse films. His creativity, his skill were not enough to produce better films or as good. And interesting. You should read the whole chapter on this and the whole book. It's marvelous. Those who are interested in the film, it's so illuminating and fantastic. Trying to return from a psychological point of view now. Reading psychology. I've been reading it for a few years, and I find it again extraordinary and illuminating. Same term from a different angle now. And Psychopath, the hero of this film, Anthony Perkins in excellent top form, maybe not equal before after this film. I understand an actor with his own issues and troubles in personal life. The psychopath, the psycho, is a man with no feelings, no emotions. He can see the emotions of the others, feelings, speculate them, very good at exploiting circumstances and weaknesses in other people, but without feelings of his own. Interesting also, you read about this, that Many go to acquire prominence in the business world, political world, of course, and this, if not completely psychopaths, a good number, maybe most, have an important degree. This would explain the uh, strange situation in which so many here, for instance, there's a scandal now, a top, maybe the most influential uh, politician, a lousy guy. That's for sure. It's clear. But they present another case in which he's involved, accused and sentenced in one case. And now he has another one pending, which means jail if he's found guilty on the second one. Furthermore, there's another thing which seems to prove that he is deep in another case of a lot of wrongdoing, to put it shortly. And still, you see, he acts like, oh no, it's. And one thinks, how can this be? He knows all this, and he gets there in the spotlight. One, and second, he shows no. Well, because he is a psychopath to a degree, and he has no emotions to show, and that's why he's doing this, because he can take advantage, and he has no qualms about returning. So it's so familiar that I didn't feel like telling the story or touching it on the in the usual ways, from the usual points of view. So I thought maybe an explanation, an insight into why this guy behaves like that, and then from this other side with Hitchcock and his image, if you will, in Adventures in the Screen Trade might be better than an approach which is common on such a classic and well-known film. Of course, a psychopath is not a killer always, so here we have other issues. I will only mention this other thing. I don't know, I can't remember if it's in, I think it might be also in the Adventures in the Screen Trade. There's an interesting thing about the finale. The fact that we reach a climax minutes uh, before the end, and in fact the last part, after we find Hopkins, is to a degree gratuitous. It's not. Um, it seems to not make sense to be there anymore. Once you have a period, and still Hitchcock, the author, let's call him that, gets away with this because it was such a tense moment. The climax is so tremendous, such high tension, and the public is relieved that they let him go away with this thing, end to end. Hitchcock is also referred to with the finale in which he packed so much in about a minute, with the hero hanging on a cliff. The villain is, but I will get to that in the note on that film.